Today we're here to talk about employee retention. As you've all heard, there's the great resignation upon us. There was actually a study by the Work Institute that shares by the year 2025, a staggering 35% of employees will resign from their current employment. So today I've invited one of my very own HR consultants, Lisa Grisolia, to join me in the discussion today. And I'm so honored to have her here so that you can hear from her experience with a number of our clients and her own personal experience. Lisa, please do share with us a little bit about yourself, introduce yourself, and let's get into this conversation.
Thank you. So I am very excited to be here today. So a little bit about myself. I have been in HR for approximately 7 years now, and I've been in different areas of HR with talent acquisition, learning and development, total compensation, employee relations. So I think I've, over my past 7 years, really had a great foundation of HR and the entire employee life cycle. And why I'm really excited to be here today is because employee retention is a passion of mine. I really love being able to work with organizations in building really great companies and building really great workforces.
I can't agree more. I see the work you do. Our clients are so happy with the amazing sort of engagement strategy. So, tell us in your experience, why is it that you find, why do employees resign from their employment? Why are they leaving? And I guess what can employers do to mitigate those reasons or the risks for employees leaving?
So I think there's several different reasons why employees leave an organization. Some people may just be, for example, money motivated, where they'll gravitate towards a job that pays higher. Several different reasons. I think one of the biggest driving factors is their direct manager. So the relationship that they have with their direct manager, I know it's, a lot of people say this, but, you're not really quitting your job, you're quitting your manager.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I find that when you do have a really great relationship with your manager where there's open communication, there's recognition, you're really feeling valued, and there's a very transparent relationship there, I find that any issue that comes up while you're, at work or during your career and your course of employment, I think that can be addressed a lot easier when you have that relationship with your manager. Whereas, if that relationship isn't there, it's a lot easier for people to not really feel that connection and start to look for employment elsewhere.
And it's about having that sincere, honest, sort of authentic relationship where I think, the leader as well as the organization, it's like they care about their employees, right?
Yeah.
So, what do you think are the benefits of investing in a great employee retention strategy? And why should employers be proactive about it?
So I really think that, lots of reasons, again, to be investing in employee retention. And I find that it's not that easy to find great talent. It's really difficult. The market and just recruiting in general, it's not that easy to find people that fit into, our company and fit into the role, and vice versa. So I find that, there's a lot of costs as well when you look at recruiting, training, onboarding. There's lots of different costs associated with bringing people on. So I find that, that monetary investment that you're putting in, that's one thing that you would be losing out on. And also really just the contribution that person could have had in your company. So, if we're bringing on somebody that's really amazing, really great talent, and then they end up leaving because, they don't like, let's say, the company culture or the manager that they're working with, you're losing out on what they could have contributed as well.
And all the lost resources trying to find that person.
Yeah.
The other piece too is, that human capital. Say you've had someone for 10 years and they decide to leave. So you're not just losing that team member and their current knowledge and contribution. You're losing all the history and those relationships they've built with your other team members, your clients. So agreed. So important.
Yeah.
So in your opinion, Lisa, what is it that keeps employees from looking elsewhere, for even considering, okay, I'm going to look for another job? And what would you say has been the most effective retention strategies that employers could implement today?
So I would say I wholeheartedly believe that it comes down to culture. I feel like culture is the driving force in retaining talent, in even attracting top talent. So I find that especially in our day and age, I think that priorities have shifted with our workforce. I don't think it's the same priorities that past workforce have been interested in. And we spend so much time at work. We spend so much time with our work teams that it's really important we're creating organizations that people want to come into work. They want to spend the majority of their days there. So I think it really comes down to creating a culture that is open and transparent. There's authenticity, work-life balance. All of these pieces come together and create an environment where employees can really feel valued and recognized.
And safe. And we talk about sort of, what fills your cup.
Yeah.
If the cup is always empty, then they're not going to want to come to work, right?
Yeah.
So, and on that note, inevitably people do leave,
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
So we typically will, recommend that our clients will do employee sort of exit interviews. Why do you think that's important? Why is it important to do an exit interview?
Yeah. So I think that exit interviews, from my experience, they give us a lot of insight into, areas we could have improved in, or any type of challenges that the employee had during their course of employment that maybe they never felt comfortable bringing forward, or there wasn't the time to do something like that. They never had the platform to do that, let's say, with their manager. So from my experience, I've found that a lot of employees they're very honest when it comes down to exit interviews. I feel like, they maybe feel that they don't have anything to lose, and so they're very open and honest with the struggles that they had, or areas that, we really could have done better as an organization.
And in my experience too, you always have those one-offs that someone's not happy, and it's really about the trends. If you're hearing consistently that perhaps someone is being not respected in terms of their personal time, well then that's not enough work-life balance. Let's kind of dig a little deeper. Maybe you need additional resources. So it's important to hear the feedback so you can always continue to improve. Yeah. And I guess before we close off, Lisa, if you had any of your own kind of personal experience where, you reconsidered whether you wanted to work somewhere, and, what made you kind of leave, that you would be open to sharing at least?
Yeah, absolutely. So I do have an experience where, one of the companies that I worked for when I started off there, I had a really great manager. I loved my team. The relationship that I had with my manager was very open. I was very junior in my career, so she was really great at being supportive and really guiding me and training me in areas that maybe I needed a little bit more development in. So I feel like we had that really great, flexible, open relationship. The culture there was really great. I loved the company itself and the work that I was doing. And then that changed. So at some point, my manager changed. I had a different manager where the relationship was the complete opposite. So I didn't really feel like we had that open communication. I didn't feel supported. I didn't really feel recognized or valued in any way. I didn't feel like I was acknowledged. And especially at that time in my career, I think that's what I really needed. And so that's really what ultimately led me to start looking for other employment. I would wake up and not be excited to go to work anymore. And so it really was a point where I said, okay, it's time for me to move on, along with some other factors, but that was really the driving factor that ended up, getting me to look elsewhere. And it was, I was actually thinking about this, and it's funny because even on my last day when I was there, my manager at the time, didn't even really acknowledge me to say bye. So it was not the greatest relationship. So that really changed, that really changed my whole picture and idea of working at that organization. Yeah.
And I think you kind of hit the nail on the head there, right? People have, especially during COVID, have had this COVID clarity. They've kind of reevaluated where they want to spend their time, because if there's anything the pandemic has shared with us, well, our time can be very short here, right? So it's about the journey, and spending more time at work than you do at home is important to enjoy the time that you have here.
Yeah.
So important to have effective employee retention strategies, and make sure that we are preventing those amazing team members that we have have as our work family from going to another work family, because, that contribution and that success of the organization is really about working together as a team and maintaining that retention and recognizing, I would say acknowledging the talent that you have, and having a really great culture in doing so. Yeah. But thank you again for coming and joining me today. It was a wonderful conversation. Hopefully we can get some quick strategies for some of our viewers today to implement and keep your employees and your work family